What other one did we watch?
All right. Last thing of the night, I think. We've been just recording and recording and recording. You have no idea what we're going to talk about right now. But a couple years ago, I sat down and watched the first season all by myself. Then later on, Kaylee came around and was like, oh, there's a second season. I'd really like to watch it. So you got to rewatch the first season with me. So we watched that. And then we finally sat down and got to watch season 2 of Black Summer.
Ooh, yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the first season really quick? 'Cause
I loved it.
I did a
was
full
super
spoiler
into it.
discussion on every episode of season 1.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it in depth. I thought it was really cool. I thought that, from the beginning, it just is so fast paced and such a realistic zombie apocalypse, depiction. I was really into that. I thought the zombies looked amazing. They were terrifying and relentless, which is, super scary. Fast zombies are always going to be the scariest for me.
Yeah.
Especially if they're aggressive. So I loved that, and I love the setup of how every episode kind of has like these little vignettes or for each character or group, and I thought that was really cool. And season 2 didn't disappoint me. I thought it was set up in the same way, and I really loved it. What about you?
You really love season 2?
Yeah.
I love season 1. I was real big on it when I was watching it the first time, and upon revisit, I did quite enjoy it a lot the second time as well. So it held up pretty well for a second viewing. I do think that where this show excels is in its realistic depiction of a zombie virus outbreak, and the zombies in this are terrifying because this is probably the hardest zombies to kill of any show I've ever watched.
Oh my gosh.
Like, zombies really just don't die in this show.
No.
Like, there's pretty rare moments where somebody actually kills a zombie outside of the last episode of season 1, where there's like 100 people with guns and they're all going to a stadium and they're all trying to cut through this. There's some really impressive, bigger scaled, one long take shots throughout this show, especially in the first season. And I think that this show doesn't get anywhere near enough attention for that. And I know that this is made by Asylum, which is beyond crazy to me because that company is pure dog shit and has never made anything good outside of this that I'm aware of. It's crazy to me that they have any involvement with this show, and I know that this is a prequel to the show Z Nation, which has 5 seasons or something and are all on Netflix, and we are going to eventually watch that, but I've never watched almost any of that show, so I can't really speak on that show's quality. But I think that this show is super underappreciated for its style. It's got really, really cool, elaborate one takes. I know I already mentioned that, but I think that's probably my favorite aspect of this show is how many of these long one takes that they do. I think that the filmmakers are really trying to put forth something pretty damn cool on a pretty limited budget. And I think that they're really effective in doing so. And that's probably why the zombies are so hard to kill, because that would, require special effects, heads exploding and shit. Well, that does happen in the show. It just doesn't happen a lot. Zombies are really, really fucking hard to kill.
The way they turn is so fast.
So fast.
So
and
there's
they're
no
so
time.
fast.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
the one takes are wonderful. I really love those as well. I think that, I've always been a fan of one takes because it really puts you, in the action. It's very immersive. And for a zombie show, it's great because you're there with the character that you're following and all these things are happening, in real time. And it's just very, very effective. But yeah, there's a couple, I think, in season 2 at least. There's
Sure.
definitely a couple one takes as
My
well.
favorite scene in the whole show is a long one take, and it is. Uh,
The
it's not a
last
main.
episode?
It's not a main guy. It's kind of a guy you barely even know. In the very last episode, and he's running from zombies through an airfield, and it's just fucking relentless and terrifying, and you know, very aggressive,
Yes.
and it's cool. I really like that. As far as the second season go, I'm definitely not as high on it as you. I
Interesting.
liked it okay. I like the. You kind of already know my issues with it. Number one, our main character here, the mom, played by Jamie King or Jamie Kennedy, Jamie King, and then whichever. Um, her and her daughter. So in this show, like The Walking Dead, we follow these people on this journey, right? We get to know Rick and Maggie, and the list goes hundreds of fucking thousand characters. Throughout that journey, like, okay, I had said originally when the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead were on, people were hating on Shane. There were big Shane haters, and they were like, oh, Shane's an asshole. Shane is this and that. And I was always defending Shane, saying, no, no, no. Shane's just getting to the place that they're all going to need to get to. He's just getting there faster than they are. Like, he is in survival mode. He knows the places in which he's going to get. And yeah, fast forward the show a few seasons, and Rick is 100 times worse than Shane ever was at that point in which everyone was down on him. But now they see Rick. But it's because of that journey that they follow Rick on, that they follow these other characters on, that they can start to forgive the sins that they are, partaking in, because they know the journey in which brought them to those character moments. And within this show, we don't see that. We see her get to the stadium at the end of season one, and then we fast forward X amount of months to this winter season where she's with her daughter, and we kind of have to fill in the blanks of why she's so fucking hardened, why her daughter is so nihilistic, why they're both so, like, just beaten and battered and fucking, like, they hate everyone and want everyone dead. They're very unlikable people. They're very unlikable in any instances. And I feel like I always kept feeling like I was taken out of it because I didn't like them at all. I was just like, what has happened to you guys? Like, I get you're in the zombie apocalypse, and I don't need them. I'm not that guy that's like, oh, well, you'd be prettier if you smiled. I'm not that guy at all. I get it. They went through shit. But there's times where they're not around other people, where we can have character moments where I feel this bond between them. They're just so hardened throughout that I'm so disconnected from them, and I didn't get the journey to that moment. I feel like this show needed a whole other season in between season one and season two for me to really feel like, oh my God, I know why she's so protective of her daughter. Someone tried to rape her in front of her, kind of thing. Like, I know where that comes from. I don't have the context here. So I was really taken, and I felt them to be extremely, like, unlikable to be around through the runtime that they had. Like, that stuff with that guy who's, like, telling them, like, no, I know this place.
Really
Trust me.
sweet guy.
He's super fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like, super annoying. I wanted to punch his face many times. But she's just so awful to him the whole time. And you're like, Jesus Christ, give the guy a fucking break for 2 seconds. Like, right? Like, even when things happen and she ends up being fucking wrong, it's like, she can't admit she's wrong. She can't even let her guard down for a second.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That stuff took me out of it. So that's one aspect. And then another aspect of the show that I didn't like was that I felt that everything was all over the fucking place. I felt like there's all this huge setup of this, like, war going on between two different halves, and they're all trying to get to this airfield, and I feel like that becomes extremely disjointed, and I feel like they lose total focus on that to the point where I forgot who was on whose side, who are these characters, and why are they with this person, and are they with this person. Then there's these side character moments that do kind of play in but don't really play in, and it's just kind of like a detour from the real story. We don't really spend time with certain characters from the first season all that much, and then they end up perishing, and you're like, oh, so I guess that's their demise, which I'm fine with. Like, you know, big surprise deaths, not a problem. Kill the fucking anybody you want. You want to kill, you know, our main girl here and her daughter in 2 episodes in, I'm all fucking for it. Just do it in a way that feels like I've spent enough of a moment with them, or that they have an importance to the story that then gets snuffed out. Right? Like certain characters, they don't feel like they're doing anything except for filling up runtime till their death. Right? There's character moments, and I really like the episode where Spears meets up with this guy, and there's this kind of distrust, and they're getting to know each other, and the guy's like, I know you. You know, and there's this tension between them of like, are they going to kill each other? And at any moment, I thought they were going to turn a gun on each other. At any moment. That's probably my favorite episode of this whole show. I really liked that between them. But Spears' storyline, it doesn't go anywhere in this. And the whole, like, we all got to get to the airfield, it doesn't really feel like it goes anywhere in this. And then, unexplainably, and I think this is probably reshoots or budgetary issues or I don't know what, this whole fucking show takes place in the deep, deep snow and cold. And then you get to the last episode and there's not a fucking bit of snow anywhere. And they've walked a mile and they look out at the horizon, they look everywhere and there's no snow. And it's like, where'd the snow go? They show a moment where some snow is melting.
Yeah.
No snow is melting that fast. Where it's completely gone, absolutely everywhere. There's not one single fucking piece of snow. Nowhere. Like that kind of stuff. It's like, really? Really? Not addressed at all? That kind of stuff is annoying. It's a nitpick to a degree. I get it. They filmed some other place at a different time. But the last episode, no snow. And it was like, what is happening? And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it added to the disjointedness of the story. It was like I already felt like things were disjointed in the journey to get to the airfield because of the 2 different factions that I never really got to know. I didn't really understand their motives. I didn't really understand the one side of the army versus the other side. I never got to know any of the leaders, any of the reasons why these people are doing what they're doing. They're just survivors, right? So that all just felt so disconnected. And then we get there and there's no snow. And it's like, fuck, man, is there anything about this that feels cohesive? Right? So that's, I think, yeah, I said a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't know. I see what you mean though about the main girl and her daughter and kind of getting more backstory as to getting some sort of filler. But for me, I don't feel like I needed any of that because I think that like the emotional pull of the first season is her trying to find her daughter, and she does find her after going through quite a lot. And I think that, in terms of their relationship, it would make sense for her to be overprotective and for them to be these, like, a hardened duo because they're trying to survive in a world of not only zombies, but also other survivors who are going to, potentially kill them or do other things. So, I don't know. I didn't feel like I needed anything. I think that it was just very realistic and believable that, like you were comparing, with Shane and Rick, like, that's where you would need to be to survive in this world. Like, you would need to get to that level. I think the one character in this show, in this season especially, that is anything good is Sun. She's the only one that tries to get people to cooperate and be friends, and nobody understands her. And I love the ending that she gets because I think she's the most likable character. And I loved her in the first season as well. But as much as the main mother-daughter duo are unlikable, I was still pretty invested in them, and part of that is just from seeing them, from season 1. But as far as like the disjointedness, I don't feel that it was particularly like all over the place. I think that it makes sense. They've traveled, they've moved some distance. People have already been dying, so there's new characters being introduced. And I think that for them to focus on, like how there's all these multiple storylines going on, it felt realistic to me in terms of like society's fracturing, the world's falling apart.
Yeah.
You would have all these kind of like, it's so important to this one group of people, but it means nothing to these other ones, or like, in passing they totally ruin each other's lives without even intending it, or whatever. So I like all of that personally. And the last episode not having snow was kind of weird. I mean, they sort of show the snow melting, which is, I guess, the supposed to show the time passing. But it doesn't take away for me from the show that much. It just is kind of like that's a little weird. I don't get that.
Yeah.
But there's reunions that are happening in the show too. Like characters from season 1 meet each other, and so I don't know. I didn't feel that it was super disjointed for me. I liked kind of everything that was going on. It felt chaotic but contained enough, and like the chaos was the realism part for me.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I can see what you're saying though. I think that it wouldn't have been, worse if they had given us more time with, characters to see them get to that place.
Yeah.
So.
Sun is a straight up like prisoner. This entire show does nothing but just be a prisoner.
Yeah, it sucks.
But yeah, I liked it. I liked the season.
Yeah, I mean, like I really enjoyed it.
I don't love it.
Yeah,
I
love both of them. I think that they're both really good seasons, and as far as zombie shows go, I thought it was great. I love the style, particularly of just jumping from story to story. I love that there's no music at all. It's just sounds of people talking in the world, and it just felt very real. And that's the scary thing.
Yeah, I liked it.
But yeah,
but
okay.
Not as huge of a fan as the first season for sure.
Okay.
But I'd still watch a third.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. I don't think we'll ever get it, but I'd watch it for sure. It's not like I've checked out, but it's definitely our two main girls. That's the most off-putting thing of this season for me.
Okay.
I found them to be very unlikable. Very unlikable. And I didn't dislike her in the first season at all.
No, but she's, softer in the first season, and everything's new, so they're all kind of still clinging to bits of their humanity, and I think that, time has passed and they've changed, and this is, who they have to be to survive.
They're cold, just like winter.
They're super cold.
Yeah. I get it.
I know. You just wanted to see,
journey
you wanted to be there with them.
And I don't feel like the first season does it enough.
Yeah. No, I think I like the snap though. I like that it's like, oh, look how much they've changed. Like, holy shit.
I get that.
Like, for me at least, that works in this.
Sure.
But I get your thing too.
I don't think it's completely unbelievable.
No.
It's just there's a disconnect from me personally. And we'll definitely have people agreeing with me in the comments, and we'll have people agreeing with you in the comments, and that's fine.
Oh, that's fine. I'm right.
Agree with me. Bye.